In today's show, the Blazers snap their losing streak with a monster second half against the Suns. Deandre Ayton plays one of his best games in a Blazers uniform, and Anfernee Simons delivers late. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Coming at you Monday through Friday, each and every weekday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same as Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, recapping the Blazers' streak-snapping victory over the Phoenix Suns. Blazers had lost 7 in a row, needed a win in the worst way, and got it in the best way, holding on late to beat the Phoenix Suns in the return of some old friends to the Moda Center. Deandre Ayton getting revenge against his old team. We'll recap that game as we do. We'll talk about a second-half surge and what went into it to power the Blazers with a monster second half to get things rolling and get them back on track, or untracked, rather. And then we'll talk about Deandre Ayton, who I think played probably his best game in a Blazers uniform. Didn't shoot that well, but one of his best games in a Blazers uniform. And there was a simple approach to how I think the Blazers are trying to get him involved in what he wants to do, and a formula that maybe can work. Some repeatable stuff. That's what we'll talk about to close the show. But first, let's do what we do, baby. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers win 109-104. It did not look like this was going to go their way early. They're down 36-20 after one, down 16 at the end of one. They had 20 points and 10 turnovers. It was a nightmare. They were turning the ball all over the place. They bring in Scoot Henderson. My man starts saying, whoa, we're turning the ball over? I can do that. But like two of the Blazers' first 3 possessions prior to even Scoot, he doesn't deserve all the blame here. Prior to Scoot even getting into the game, two of the first 3 possessions, they turned the ball over, trying to force feed Deandre Ayton. It's like, then Scoot gets in and says, like, let me get in on the act. 10 turnovers in the first quarter. It's looking rough. But this is the Portland Trailblazers team you kind of know. So, of course, they charge back, and they cut it to single digits, get close within a possession, but the Suns close the second quarter well and go into halftime up 61-49. Kevin Durant, 21 in the first half, Devin Booker, 17 in the first half, and it looks like the Suns, even without Bradley Beal, are just going to overwhelm the Blazers just with their quality of offense. Then the second half happens. A monster third quarter. Blazers take a 38-22 third quarter to take an 87-81 lead into the fourth. 38-22. Just a disastrous third quarter for the Suns. The Blazers capitalize. They stop turning the ball over. They start making shots. They get 13 from Jeremy Grant in the third, 8 from Anfernee Simons, and 8 from Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon starts the second half because Shaedon Sharpe, who was added to the injury report with an abductor strain, groin strain, played the first 8 minutes, went scoreless, took 1 shot, and then did not come back in the game, and they held him out. And so Malcolm Brogdon starts the second half. He was really solid after halftime, but you get those type of, you get 29. Jeremy Grant and Anfernee Simons combined for 21 points. The Suns scored 22. Throw in Malcolm Brogdon's 8 as he's your other guard starting now, and all of a sudden, like, the offense is cooking. 38 in the quarter, up 87-81. Malcolm Brogdon hits a 3 with 6 minutes and 6 seconds left in the third quarter. The Blazers take a 1-point lead, 68-67. Jeremy Grant drives on after the Blazers get a stop and gets the and one layup in semi-transition. Makes the layup, makes obviously and one, makes the free throw, and the Blazers never look back. They never trail after midway through the third quarter. They hold on, but it got a little dicey at the end. So they're up 6 heading into the fourth quarter, 87-81, and they're up 11 with 1:59 seconds left. Deandre Ayton hits a couple free throws. You're starting to feel good, right? Like, they're going to win. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do on the podcast, having fun. I'm in the arena. The place is rocking. Uh-oh. All of a sudden, after a couple Suns buckets, cuts it to 9 and then cuts it to 7. The Blazers take a way too early 3 in what is now a 5-point game. Uh-oh. A way too early shot. And Malcolm Brogdon gets a wide open 3 from the corner because they're double teaming, but he shoots it with 12 on the shot clock and the clock ticking under a minute. It's like, hold the ball, dog. Like, shot clock it. Like, literally let the clock run out is better than taking a shot there when you're up. He misses, Suns run, they get an and one, and all of a sudden, yikes, it's a 2-point game, and the Blazers have the ball with just over 30 seconds to go. Uh-oh. Anfernee Simons drives, gets his shot swatted out of bounds by old friend Jusuf Nurkic. Blazers call it, get a timeout. They need to set up a play, right? They need to. It is all of a sudden it is a 3-point game with 15 seconds left, 18 seconds left, and you need to score or it's really lemon booty time. Blazers run a play to get Anfernee Simons the ball going to his preferred right hand. He gets there on Grayson Allen and kind of gets caught in between pull-up jump shot and floater and just throws up a little tough contested push jump shot from outside the paint. Cash. Blazers go up 5, 109-104. Anfernee Simons delivers and avoids the meltdown, and the Blazers hold on to win by that margin as the Suns miss some shots at the buzzer. That's your fastest recap in the West. Blazers win 109-104, snap a 7-game losing streak. To the box score we go. 22 from Jeremy Grant. 15 of those came in the second half. 23 from Anfernee Simons. 17 of those came in the second half. Malcolm Brogdon 14 off the bench, although he started the second half. 11 in the second half. Malcolm Brogdon in the second half. 11 points, 4 boards, 3 rebounds. He was really stinking good. Deandre Ayton, who we'll talk about a bunch to close the show. 16 points, 15 boards. He was solid. He didn't shoot well. 6 of 18. Anfernee Simons didn't shoot well. 9 of 23. He shot well in the second half. Did not shoot well early. Jeremy Grant continues to be efficient. Jeremy Grant has 10 assists in his last 2 games. 6 the other night, 4 tonight. 10 assists in 2 games for Jeremy Grant feels like it's against the rules. I did check the rule book. It is totally within the rules for Jeremy Grant to pass the ball that much with that much success, but it feels like it legitimately is like when I was seated in the box, I'm like, 4 assists. What on earth? Scoot Henderson, who got to close the game, they chose to close the game with the 3-guard lineup. He had 9, scoreless in the second half, but 9 points, 4 boards, 5 assists for Scoot. I thought he played pretty well. He was a little turnover happy in the first half, but I thought he played after his first shift. I thought he played solid. There were some moments where he just holds the turbo button down a little too much, but I thought he played all right. 8 for Matisse Thybulle, who continues just to be a wizard on defense. He had 3 steals. 9 for Jabari Walker. Duop Reith played in the first half, didn't play in the second half, took 1 shot, and it was a 3, and he hit it. WAP is kind of clearly they're more comfortable for the most part going small. I think that's just clear. They're for the most part, they're comfortable going small, and WAP is the odd man out as the 10th guy, and Jabari Walker has been your backup center, as the Blazers are just comfortable in that look. On the Suns side, quickly, Devin Booker, 26, but just 9 after halftime. He struggled in the second half, 4 of 12 in the second half. He was not good after halftime. 40 for KD. I thought the Blazers guarded Kevin Durant well, particularly in the final 3 quarters. I thought they kind of figured out what to do with him and how they wanted to guard him. And I thought Jeremy Grant was one of Jeremy Grant's better defensive games. So that he was competitive and his active hands and active feet and physical and trying to keep Kevin Durant not getting easy catches where he wants the ball. And KD had 40 on 16 of 28 shooting. He's just really good. He's just really good. Like that's he makes shots. He gets to his spots. He shoots over the top. I mean, Jeremy Grant blocked a Kevin Durant fall away mid range jumper. You don't see that very often. That is not a common occurrence. Watching Kevin Durant get a mid range jumper blocked, and he finished with 40 on 16 of 28 shooting. Like he was really good. The problem was that Durant was really good, and after a good first half, Devin Booker was really good. The Suns just didn't get help from anyone else. No one else in double figures. Yusuf Nurkic had 9 and 13, missed a couple of layups late, and gave us the full Nurk special, smoked a couple right-handed layups, and complained about the foul call. Welcome back, big fella. Nazir Little, old friend, 4 points off the bench. Old friend Drew Eubanks had 5 and 6 boards. 5 for Eric Gordon, 2 for Jordan Goodwin, 2 for Chimezie Metu. Suns just needed a little bit of help. They didn't get it. The Blazers got the balance. They win the ball game. Let's talk about what went right in the second half. Talk about the sort of the art of fixing a slow start. That's what we will do in the second segment. First, can I interest you in learning a little bit about building a championship team with help from my man Joshy? That's Josh Lloyd, host of Locked On Fantasy Basketball, who's going to bring you the best fantasy picks each week with the help of eBay Motors. Whether you're prepping to make a daily fantasy roster, or if you're just scouting the waiver wire for whatever pickups in your year-long league, every week right here are going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Players of the Week. I told you yesterday about Brandon Podziemski of the Warriors. Today, let's talk about Grayson Allen of the Suns. We saw Pods the other night with Golden State. Now Blazer fans got to see Grayson Allen close up, and he's not a personal favorite of mine, but a pretty good basketball player. With Brad Beal out until at least the first week of January or so, Allen's just going to play a lot. He's going to see a bunch of minutes. He's going to have more on-ball opportunities, and he's going to have, hold on to this role for maybe not just, through Christmas and the big games on next week, but beyond that, because Brad Beal's going to be out for a stretch. And tonight, Grayson Allen is one of the best shooters in the league. He's shooting above 40% from 3 on volume this year. He's been a really good 3-point shooter, so that's going to help your fantasy team. But just the minutes alone, played 33 minutes tonight and didn't even shoot that well. 1 of 5 from 3, but 11 points. He had 9 rebounds. He's active. He's going to get some defensive stats because he's a little pest. Not like he's not going to block shots, but he's going to get the random hustle stats, rebounds out of his area, and occasional steals. He had 2 tonight. Check your fantasy waiver wire. Maybe Grayson Allen could be an ad for you. Josh Lloyd, Locked On Fantasy Basketball, wants to help you win your fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows that a championship team is about every player being a perfect fit. That's the same for your vehicle. And with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Whether you need brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Motors, with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, baby, not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right. This game turned in the second half. It really turned after the first quarter, but it turned in the second half. The Blazers held, they gave up 36 points in that first quarter. They turned the ball over 10 times. An outrageous start to the game. Chauncey Billups has talked about, we got to get off to better starts, and they have this start, and I thought really curiously, I'm putting a star next to this one. Chauncey Billups said, we have some guys in the starting lineup that play a little cool. Sounds like Shaedon Sharpe to me. That sounds like a shot at Shaedon Sharpe and a shot a little bit at DeAndre Ayton for sure. But I think he wants guys to. He said his team is too reactive. He wants to be a team that is not reactive, but the team that sets the tone, the team that throws the first punch, and not the team that has to react to whatever the other team does. And he feels like he kind of can't get him out of that rut, even though they talk about it all of the time. They've started slow a bunch, and oftentimes they kind of start slow, they come back, they hang around, but they can't overcome they were down 18 early, and then they used a bunch of energy, and then they're just, now they're in scramble mode, and they've had a ton of games this year where it's out of it, back in it, can't get all the way over the hump. But tonight, after that 36-point quarter where they've turned the ball over 10 times, they held the Suns to 25, 20, and 23 over the final 3 quarters. It's pretty good. 43 points in the second half for Phoenix. Blazers scored 38 points in the third quarter. Phoenix scored 43 in the second half. They played great. They really did. I think the simplest explanation is often the easiest. And I want to start with the simple explanation, and then we can move out from there. The Blazers in the second half made 8 3-pointers. They were 8 of 16 from 3. In the second half, the Suns went 1 of 10 from 3. Often, the way the NBA game is played, shooting is going to be the separator. And when you're plus 21, that's 7 more made threes from 3. Like, it's just... that can be the difference. And that probably was it. Like, you outscore the Suns by 17 in the second half, 60-43 after halftime. You make 7 more threes than they do. And everything else is basically equal, right? Like, the Suns take 48 field goals. The Blazers take 48 field goals. The Suns took 8 free throws. The Blazers took 6. The Suns had more offensive rebounds, but they didn't convert them into more field goal attempts. The Blazers turned the ball over 4 times. They didn't give up extra points. They didn't lose. They had that's if you're the way I count it is field goals and free throw attempts. The Suns had 2 more shooting possessions because they're plus 2 at the free throw line in the second half. If you're even in the possessions game, play a clean half, and you shoot incredibly well. That's the trick. And that is the sort of resilience that this team has shown this year. What they're lacking is maybe just straight up skill, right? Like sometimes it's just a talent deficit and they can't get all the way back, or they've had some blunders where it's like Anfernee Simons turns the ball over twice in the final 2 minutes or something like that. But like the resiliency of this team has typically been there, right? They've been tough enough and they play hard enough. Often, has not always been the case, but often hard enough to get themselves kind of just like in the game vaguely. And tonight they made shots and they played really competitive defense. I thought that, like I said, I thought Jeremy Grant played competitive defense. I thought Matisse Thybulle came in and gave them really good minutes. I thought Toumani Camara was his general sort of active self. And there were stretches in this game when the Blazers were going small and they asked Malcolm Brogdon to guard Kevin Durant. And boy, did that help. If you can get away with that. It doesn't always work, and they had to send 2 to the ball, and then they're sending help, and it wasn't like these long stretches, but there was a stretch in the fourth quarter where the matchup was putting Matisse Thybulle on Booker and Malcolm Brogdon on Kevin Durant. The sort of the steadiness of Brogdon really, really showed up in this game, and I think that's a key part of this. Malcolm Brogdon is like, and he is better than Shaedon Sharpe at basketball. Hopefully not for long, but he's just the steadying presence, the ball handling, the passing. He's better. Shaedon Sharpe has really struggled on defense recently. I don't know. He can be better than that. They got to get him back there. Maybe it's health, maybe it's fatigue, whatever it is. But like the Blazers' offense looked so much better in the second half just because Brogdon stands in the corner, takes shots when they come there, just because he can be smart sort of about, he can run plays and get you into action, and he kind of has just the ball handling, the playmaking skills, but also just the sort of the IQ to say, okay, let's get us organized. Here's what we need to do. He took one terrible shot late in the game, but like, you kind of see the conundrum with where the Blazers roster, right? It's like, I want Sharpe to play a ton more minutes than Malcolm Brogdon. I'm much more invested in Shaedon Sharpe's future as like a podcaster and basketball fan than I am Malcolm Brogdon. But like the steadying presence of having a vet on the court like helped them in the second half. I think undeniably helped them on both ends. He was really good in this game, and he's had some stinkers recently. Like no doubt about it. Brogdon's had some stinkers recently. That got him there. But I think that's sort of their conundrum, right? It's like they need the young guys to play and they need the young guys to fail and they need the young guys to learn from failing and all of those things. But you can see that if they were just to like, if they were trying to maximize what they were going to be, it's playing it's probably playing Brogdon and Anfernee Simons, your two best guards, more minutes than the young guys, which is just like not the priority for the season, but it is like sort of a fact of life. The other reason that the Blazers won in the second half is that Deandre Ayton was really good. But one of the reasons that he said he was really good is because of the way the game started. The way the game started informed how Deandre Ayton was able to end it. I think this is a curious one and something we've sort of touched on the show, but something that both he and Chauncey Billups mentioned in their post-game conversations. The Blazers didn't unlock some magic with Deandre Ayton. He just played a little better in this game, and he was a little more aggressive, and he had some extra juice playing against his former team. He wasn't perfect, but he's getting, you could see what they want to do. And then they talked about how they're going to get there. So let's talk about what they want to do and how they're going to get there. And one of Deandre Ayton's just straight up best games in a Trailblazers uniform. That's what we'll do to close the show. But first, let me tell you about buying last-minute tickets. Blazers play the Washington Wizards on Thursday, and you might not want to go see the Washington Wizards in person until like 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. Well, luckily the Gametime app is made just for you. It is specifically for you, the procrastinator. What I like about the Gametime app, the place for last minute tickets, is that it's quick and easy to use. Open up the app, search Trailblazers, 3 clicks, you got tickets emailed to your phone or emailed to your phone. That's where you get emails, right? But you can see the view from your seat, so you can click on it and say, okay, what's the sort of corner of the Moda Center going to look like? And what you see is what you get. There's no BS with the pricing. It's just, if I want to sit in these seats, they cost $47. Let's click on them. Let's buy them. 4 clicks. The email's there. You're not getting a convenience fee. You're not getting the charge to send you an emailed PDF. You're just, what you see is what you get. So why not take advantage of Gametime and take the hassle and guesswork out of buying tickets? Download the Gametime app and create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You got $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the redemption code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. And you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Deandre Ayton played darn well. Did Deandre Ayton play a perfect game? No. He was 6 of 18 from the floor. He didn't shoot well. There was a moment in the third quarter where they went into a timeout and he went over and grabbed the ball from the ref. He was 4-14 at the time when he did this. So he did make 2 of his final 4 attempts after doing this. But he went and grabbed the ball from the ref and just made a layup real quick. So I just need to see the ball go in. I'm missing all these shots. But the number that really matters here is not the missed field goals. It's the field goal attempts in and of themselves. The Blazers, for the whole dang season, have been trying to figure out how the heck are we going to get Deandre Ayton involved. And I mentioned this a bunch in previous podcasts, is like the Blazers had kind of one plan for Deandre Ayton, was that he's going to work in pick and rolls with Anfernee Simons, and then, we'll have shooting around that pick and roll, and when they send 2 to the ball with Anfernee Simons, they'll create space, and Ayton will have more room, and Simons will unlock him, and then Anfernee Simons got hurt, and it's clear that Blazers didn't really have plan B. And then the roster didn't allow them to create a plan B, but that was particularly well suited to fit what Deandre Ayton does. And then I think the sort of snowball effect of a roster that didn't fit him, limited opportunities, and losing caused Deandre Ayton just to not play very well the last week or 10 days or so. He just didn't play with heart. He was just playing kind of soft. Just kind of getting light cardio out there, just not being the rim protector he's capable of being, not being the sort of disruptor on defense that he had been to begin the year. He played really hard at the beginning of the season, and that kind of went away recently. And so the Blazers, and Chauncey Billups talked about this, said, okay, we got to get something from DA. And the way we're going to get something from him is a good old Victor Claver special. And Chauncey used to do this with Yusuf Nurkic a bunch too, is we're going to get him the first touch, the first shot of the game, and we're going to go to him again after that. We're going to get him touches right away. We're going to be sure that we do. We're going to call a play for him to get a touch. Early on, the Blazers' first possessions, they called a play to get a touch. One, the ball came back out, and they worked the ball around. Everybody touched it, and Jeremy Grant hit a three. Another one, they threw it into the post, and Yusuf Nurkic knocked it away from Ayton. But he gets touches early, and he gets shots early, attempts early. He gets that sort of he gets the carrot early. The bunny gets the carrot early in the process, and DeAndre Ayton feels involved, and that involvement caused him to play better. And I thought he wasn't super great on defense in this game. He was good, but he wasn't super great. But I think where I noticed him play a lot better was physical offense. I saw him run a possession. This is going to blow your mind. I saw him run a possession in the first half in which he made contact, solid contact even, on 2 screens in one singular possession. A good screen off the ball to spring the action, and then once that started, it allowed them to get into a pick and roll. He springs a guy up with a little flare screen going towards the top of the key. Then he sets another screen once the ball comes, and they run a pick and roll, and they get a bucket out of it. And the bucket came not from DeAndre Ayton, but from the wing on the other side, three-pointer on the other side, because his screens forced the defense to rotate and help. And I thought he had that physicality all night, made sure he hit people. And he talked about in his post-game press conference, he said that like getting the ball early, he felt like he's been missing some of the recent games. Getting the ball early definitely helps him find his rhythm, find his confidence, find his footing. DeAndre Ayton needs a little help. It's unfortunate perhaps that he's going to need a little help. But if he's going to need a little help, you're going to pay him $32 million. You're going to give him a little help. Call plays for him. Pat him on his back when he does well. At this point, the Blazers are pot committed. They got to figure out what works. And if it doesn't work, they still need to figure out what works because he's going to be theirs for a while. And what'd they get from DeAndre Ayton? A darn solid game. A darn solid game. Not this elite monster game, but 16 points and 15 boards. 3 assists. And the playmaking and plan A finally showed up in this one. Plan A all the time. I guess plan DA. We'll just run a pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton and Anfernee Simons and it'll work. That was a Blazers plan from the start of the season. Then Anfernee Simons misses 18 games and they didn't get to do their plan from the start of the season. But this game was one of the best games I've seen DeAndre Ayton as a playmaker on the short roll. Anfernee Simons is the only player on the team who commands a double team right now. There is a special future waiting out there in which the Blazers have multiple feared scorers that command double teams and have the ball handling skills to accept the double and then get off it and then give their team an advantage 4-on-3 because 2 get to the ball. That means you got 4 offensive players and just 3 defenders behind it. Find DeAndre Ayton in the pocket. That's that space created when you set a high screen. Find him in the pocket. Let him be a decision maker. And tonight, he was good at it. He is a little slow when he catches it there. Like he catch, scan, pick up your dribble, see the pass, make the pass. You wish it was catch, scan, pass. You wish it was quick, but for him, it's 5 beats, not 3. Bum. Okay, he makes the play. But the speed is the next thing that you hope he develops. Right now, it's just the decisions. See it, make the pass, make it so it's a catchable, good, clean pass, get the ball to the opposite side of the floor. When the Blazers can draw 2 to the ball, get the ball to the middle of the floor and have someone make a decision, they look so much more competent because then you can spread Malcolm Brogdon out, you can spread Jeremy Grant out, you can spread Shaedon Sharpe out, and now you have shooters around there. And you can honestly spread Scoot out. And whether teams are saying, okay, he's the guy we're going to help off of, he can attack against a defense that isn't set, against a defense that is imbalanced, against a defense where they have a 4-on-3 advantage. It even allows your non-shooters to be more aggressive and be smarter. And the DA Ant pick and roll got some juice tonight. It looked like it's the best it had looked. Work in progress, but that's what they got to keep building on. As DA pointed out, they just haven't played together very much, so he's still learning. Like I said, the Blazers didn't really have a plan B with DeAndre Ayton, but they're back to being able to have their plan for the beginning of the season. And tonight, Anfernee Simons got double teamed, and he got double teamed because that's, he's their scary player off the dribble, and you want to make him make plays. The Suns are choosing to have Deandre Ayton catch that ball in the middle of the floor, knowing that they'll be able to scramble back. Load the paint up, dare Blazers shooters to make shots, and guess what? They did. They made shots. That's the trick. 14 of 28 from three. They didn't even bomb away from three with only 28 three-point attempts, but if you make half of them at 14, the Suns were 5 of 23 from three, and you do that because you get a double team, and you do that because your big man makes decisions in the middle of the floor, and you do that because you start Malcolm Brogdon in the second half, who gives you that balance and that decision-making and that willingness to shoot and look for his shots on the backside of the offense. It opens up a little bit more. The Blazers didn't invent anything new against the Suns. They just played a darn good second half. They made a bunch of shots, and they won. They've had opportunities to win during the 7-game losing streak and haven't been able to close the deal. Tonight they closed the deal. They played darn well, and they are closer. Shaedon Sharpe got hurt, but their full roster is still a thing they're tinkering with. Like they're mostly non-Rob Williams full roster. It's like they're tinkering with it. Tonight, they continue to tinker with it. They went back to something that we thought we would see much more in the beginning of the season. And it's starting to work, starting to see the vision. You build from that vision, you try to get another win. And guess what? Thursday, the Washington Wizards. It's a winnable game. Talking about 2 in a row. And a 4th win at home on the season. The Blazers are 3-9 at home this year. Oof. Oof. That's not great, Bob. But get a win here. It's a good win, a fun win. They played well. He had a great second half from JG, great second half from Ant. He had a really solid game from Deandre Ayton, and you're kind of figuring out what it's going to take to get the most out of Deandre Ayton and where he can be maximized. Solving things or getting back to things that you knew would be a solution all along and moving forward. The puzzle is still going to be hard to crack some nights, but they got it. And there's a very winnable game waiting ahead of them on Thursday against the Wizards. This is a bounce-back game for the Blazers defense. They played a really solid defensive second half. I thought Devin Booker missed some shots he could make, but the Blazers didn't let any Kevin Durant's going to get his, but the Suns role players couldn't get loose. But the Blazers defense has struggled recently, and so tomorrow's show, we're going to look into the struggles of the Blazers defense and look ahead to the Wizards game. And then Friday's show, we'll recap the Wizards game. That's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.